Hey, hi all. In this video, we will discuss about how to create a screen flow, and in this series of videos, we will cover all the elements which we use in screen flows and some of the basic scenarios which we face in our day-to-day life. So let's start. So now we have to look for setup, and in the quick find box, if I look for flows, so under process automation we have flows. And there is a automation lightning app in which you can sort out your automations which you have built in your org or which is there in your org. Then we have to click on the new flow. Then there are two options: start from scratch, or if we have any inbuilt or if we have created any flow earlier, we can use it as a template if we have checked that checkbox. Like if we want to use a particular flow as a template, we have to check that particular setting. So we will be starting from scratch. Then now we want to create screen flow. So now we will select screen flow and we'll hit create. So now screen flow is created. Now what are the different elements which we have on this? So now if you see, there is screen which you can click on or which you can have for input from user end. So basically for the interaction, we have screen, actions and subflows. Then we have logic, so assignment, decision making, loop, transform, collection sort, collection filter. Then to play with data, like creating a record, updating a record, or getting the records and then deleting the records, and then rollback of the records. Okay, so now in the screen element itself we have different types. So for an example, I want to add a screen and I want to add the text field here. So I want to add the text and the name. I want to label it name. The API name will be name, and I want to make it required. And what all button you want to see. This is the header screen properties. So you can name it as user details. Then the API name. API name will include underscore. Then if you want to show the help text, you can do that stuff. Then if you want to see the footer of it, so then next or finish button, if you want to hide it, you can click on that and that button will be hidden. If you want to hide the previous button, you can do that stuff. In the same manner, if you want to hide the pause button, you can remove it. Okay, fine. If you want to give it the previous button a custom label, you can give it from here stating that back. Once I have it, so now if you see, the back button is there. In the same manner, if you want to say the finish button as save, then there will be a save. Okay, back. And I want to hide the pause button, so I will just click on this and the button will not be there anymore. Okay, now if I say done, now if I say save, what will be the name? Screen flow. Now if you click on show advanced, so if you see source template, or if you want to make this particular flow as a template, so it can be used in the future, so you can make that happen. Then there are some settings like how to run the flow. Now the flows can be run in three manner, like user or system context, depends on how flow is launched. Okay, so basically if a flow is launched from a particular class or from a trigger, so then if it is launched from a class where you said that okay, the class was defined that with sharing, so it will respect all the sharing rules associated to that particular user. Okay, system context with sharing enforces record level access. So if you want to run this into system context but with sharing, so it will enforce all the record level access. System context without sharing, it can access all the data no matter if a particular user has access to that particular record or data or not. Okay, so now it will run this particular flow in the system mode. So now we click on save. So there is a warning, just have the issue, don't prevent activation in system mode. Okay, so now if I debug it, And if you run the data on the flow code by the subflows and elements, if I say run, so if you see this field will be there, and if I can type anything test for an instance and I click on save button, so there is a selected navigation button is next, the text name is the text box is name, label is name, value at runtime is test, but we are not doing anything, like we are not storing it anywhere. Okay, that's the reason the record or the anything is not created out of it, right? So now if you want to add more fields into it, you can add that as per your business requirement. Like this is a text field, now you want to add a pick list, or you want to add any date field, or you want to add any email field. In that manner you can look for that and you can add accordingly. Of course there are around 30 different type of data types which we have. So if you scroll down, so we we have this text, slider, Slack workplace. So this is also these are related with the Slack. Basically, if it is a password, then it will be auto encrypted. If you want URL to be used, then you can use URL. So these are the 30 different elements for a particular screen which you can use. So if you want to display anything like a text or a section, you can do it from here. Okay, so in the same manner, now if you want to create for an instance, if we want to get this data into account, and we want to create the account records or update the account record. So what we have to do is we have to just search for create records, and in this create record we will say create account record. Okay, so now the record, okay, so we will say manually. So how to set record field values manually or by selecting a variable. So manually we can search for account, and we can say name. What will be the name of that? We will use a screen element, that is name. Okay, now if I save, now this flow is saved. Now if you see, we will input a name into this, and then a particular account will be created. Okay, so now if I debug it, run the flow, enter the name, so name might be test. We click on save. So if you see create records, create account record is called create one account record where name is equal to test. A record is ready to created when the next screen pause or local action is executed, or when the interview finishes. Transaction committed, any records that the flow was ready to create, update, or committed to the database. Okay, so now we have run it into this particular debug stuff. So if you want, you can check it, but I don't think so that record will be created. So now so if you see, there is one record created, and if you go to this particular record, and if you see the name of this particular record is test. Okay, so this is how you can give an input, and then you can use different elements in it to create that record. Okay, so now if I want to change the inputs, so name is for an instance ABC, I hit save, and if I go to that query, if I again run it, so there is now a new record which will be created, and if you see, the name of this is now ABC. Okay, so in this manner you can create a record by using the element in the screen flow by using the input variables. Now in the same manner, if you want to have different fields, but now what we have done in this is we have created a new variable, this variable we have created basically, and we are now using this to assign the name into this particular stuff. Okay, but for an instance we don't want to use anything, like we don't want, so we want to use the fields which are defined on account object. So for that, what we can do is we can create a variable. The type of the variable will be record, and the name of the object will be account. You can say single account record, single account record. Okay, now if I say allow, done. So now this single account record is created. How we can use it? So basically, if you go to the screen flow, you see a field section is there. Okay, in this field section, if you look for record variable, so we have a single record field and we have an account. So now if I want to use this irrespective of this, so how I can use it? I have to just say like I can add that particular field from the account object. So if you see the details, object is account, field label is account name, field name is name, data type is this, required is yes, update compatible yes. This field is managed in object manager. Your permission affect the update compatible and create compatible values displays it. You can only set the field visibility of it. Okay, but if you go with this, then you have much control over it, because you have created a new variable altogether. Okay, but this is the variable you are getting it from the account. So we have created one record variable, and then we can use any one of the field from the account or from any particular record which we have used in the variable. Okay, so now I will delete it. So now it is referenced in the create stuff. Okay, so now I will say done, then I will go here, then I will just remove this. And once I remove this, so I will say okay fine, now I want to create it from record variable, and I will remove this also. Delete it. Now we have one. I will say done, and then in this I will say created from record variable. What is the record? This. Okay, so now if I save it, now we have not created any new variable or anything. We have just using the record variable to fetch the details, and then we are using the account name, the standard field which we have. So for an instance, if you go to an account, and if you see the ABC, so we have this particular field, that is account name in this, and this is the field which we are talking about. Okay, so this is now automatically we got that field in this particular screen flow now. So now if I debug it, you can see the name of that particular field will be now account name. If I again enter test1, if I save it, so you can see the value at runtime is test1, and then create account record using the values that are stored in this particular variable. Okay, so now the variable values are name is equal to test1, all records are ready to be created. So now if I again go to the this thing, what we call it, Salesforce inspector, again I look for this, and if I see this, then I click on this particular ID. Oh sorry, so now if you see, the test1 record is created. Okay, so what is the use case, when to use what? So if you have a custom thing stating that okay fine, you have to define 2 or 3 names, or you have to define 2 or 3 attributes, and that will be associated with an account name. So for an instance, you will say the company name and the person who is the primary contact for that, I want that name as in a particular custom field. So you can design a flow in such a manner that it will concatenate that values, and it will put the values in the name field. Apart from that, you can easily use this particular single variable or a particular record variable, and then you can have access to all the fields which are there on that particular object. So you don't have to look for like how to define the pick list value, what all pick list value will be showcased in that. So if I select industry in this, and now I say done, now I say save, and then I debug it. So once I click on the debug and I run it, so then if you see, now there will be a test, and this will be automatically, it will get it from the account object. Once I click save, so if you see, the name is test1, industry is apparel, whatever it is. Then if you see, there will be one more account which will be created, and if you see the industry which we have in it, if you run the export, so we now have created this record. Okay, so this is the simplest way to create any record using a screen flow, and how we can use the particular element of a screen flow if we want to select a data type, or if we want to use any one of the field from the existing object which we have in the org. We can directly do it using the record variable. So that's all for today. Tomorrow we will be covering more stuff on it. Thank you. Stay tuned.